Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and as we begin our meeting today, and on behalf of Ottawa City Council, I wish to acknowledge that Ottawa is built. Sorry, everyone. You ready? I wish to acknowledge that Ottawa is built on unceded Anishinaabe-Algonquin territory. The peoples of the Anishinaabe-Algonquin Nation have lived on this territory for millennia. Their culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. The City of Ottawa honors the peoples and land of the Anishinaabe-Algonquin Nation and honors all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples and their valuable past and present contributions to this land. For those who are able, please rise for a moment of personal reflection. Thank you. Merci. I'll ask you to remain standing, and I will ask Councillor Hill to introduce the performers of our national anthem this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Today, I'd like to welcome Zvonde and the Color of Diversity marimba band. I had the opportunity to meet this band and see them play at the National Housing Day at Parliament Hill about 6 months ago. They were outstanding, and the only thing that made their musical attributes better was the fact that I knew that they were from Barrhaven. So thank you very much for joining us today, Zvonde, and to your musicians, and I look forward to hearing you playing our national anthem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that wonderful performance. I'll ask now for the roll call. Thank you.
Councillor Luloff. Councillor Dudas.
I'm here.
Councillor Hill.
Present.
Councillor Curry. Here. Councillor Kelly. Councillor Gower. Councillor Kavanagh. Councillor Johnson. Here. Councillor Devine.
Here.
Councillor Bradley.
Here.
Councillor Tierney.
Present.
Conseillère Plante.
Ici.
Councillor King.
Here.
Councillor Troster.
Here.
Councillor Leeper.
Here.
Councillor Brockington.
Here.
Councillor Menard.
Here.
Councillor Carr.
Here.
Councillor Kitts.
Here.
Councillor Brown. Conseiller Desroches.
Here.
Councillor Hubley. Councillor Lowe.
Here.
Mayor Sutcliffe.
Here.
Monsieur le Maire, vous avez quorum.
Merci. Confirmation of minutes from the council meeting of April 16th. Are the minutes confirmed? Are there any declarations of interest? I'll note the communications on the agenda. Councillor Kelly did send his regrets. Motion to introduce reports. Councillor Curry.
That the Ottawa Community Housing Corporation report entitled Approval of Ottawa Community Housing Corporation OCHC Bylaw 13-2025, Community Services Committee Report 15, Emergency Preparedness and Protective Services Committee Report 17, Planning and Housing Committee Report 45, and the reports from the City Clerk entitled 2022 to 2026 Midterm Appointments to various committees and boards, and summary of oral and written public submissions for items subject to the Planning Act. Explanation requirements at the City Council meeting of 16th of April 2025 be received and considered, that the rules of procedure be suspended to receive and consider the additional in-camera item listed on the final agenda regarding the City Manager's report titled Bilingualism Policy Exemption for a Position in the City of Ottawa's Extended Senior Leadership Team.
Is that carried? Item 10.1 is the approval of the Ottawa Community Housing Corporation Bylaw 13-2025. Is that carried? From the Office of the City Clerk, the midterm appointments to various committees and boards. Is that carried? From Community Services, 12.1, 2025 update to municipal housing allowance programs and the Home for Good housing allowance programs.
Just hold that one, Mayor.
Sure. Thank you. 12.2 is the community-led green initiatives and garden program. Is that carried? 12.3 is the child care and early years service system plan. Is that carried? 12.4 is a motion from Councillors Kavanagh and Hubley supporting aging in place through naturally occurring retirement communities. Is that carried? From Emergency Preparedness and Protective Services, the Public Safety Service Annual Report, is that received? And the Ottawa Fire Services Annual Report, is that received? And the bulk consent agenda, is that carried? Okay. Going back to item 12.1, the update to the municipal housing allowance programs and the Home for Good housing allowance program. Councillor Bernard?
Thanks very much, Mayor. I'm just hoping staff can just provide a little bit more information to council on the potential timing with the province. I understand we're plugging a hole, plugging a gap in the interim, but it's a reduced gap for people that are experiencing homelessness, not those that may fall into homelessness. And I'm just wondering if there's more information on potential timing of when the province will get back to funding this the way that it should be funded.
Thank you, Chair. We do not have an update on timing. We know that it is associated with the National Housing Strategy. Now that the federal election is complete, we expect that the two levels of government will continue discussions on renewing the Canada-Ontario Housing Benefit, which is the key policy that is under question here. So we expect to have word shortly. We will continue to reach out to the provincial and federal governments.
That's appreciated. Hopefully it's a very short period of time, and I understand the city is plugging somewhat of a gap, but not the entire gap. And I'm wondering, has there been analysis done on what impact the change could have to people that are potentially at risk of falling into homelessness, with those folks being excluded for this time period from the program for this period of change criteria? Do we have an estimate of how many people or families may be affected and move into homelessness instead of where they're precariously housed now?
Chair, we have a range of programs and services that can address the needs of people who are at risk of homelessness. And part of the work we're doing with the sector is looking at prevention programs and other intervention programs that we have at our disposal. And we also have the ability to use budgets, for instance, from the other levels of government, provincial budgets, to be able to enhance programming in other areas during this time. And so we feel confident that we can mitigate any other impacts to people at risk of homelessness as a result of our interim strategy being approved.
And is it anticipated the province would, I guess, make the city whole for the interim period of time where we're plugging somewhat of a gap? Is that the expectation that they would then, I guess the province and the federal government would then refund us for the amount being spent to ensure people are as safe as possible?
Chair, I cannot say with confidence that it's a full reimbursement. What we are saying is that once we have confirmation of COB, we will move those people that are in receipt of the municipally funded benefit onto COB. So in effect, yes, our expenses will be covered through COB. That is the program we want to point people to.
Okay, thanks very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Menard. Is that item carried? All right. Moving ahead to in-camera items. I will ask Councillor Curry to introduce the motion to move in camera.
Be it resolved that City Council resolve in camera pursuant to Procedure Bylaw 2025-100, subsections 13(1)(c), a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land for the purposes of the city, and subsection 13(1)(j), a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality, including communications necessary for that purpose to receive information with respect to a potential property acquisition and associated negotiations. And be it further resolved that City Council remain in camera pursuant to Procedure Bylaw 2025-100, subsections 13(1)(b), personal matters about an identifiable individual, and 13(1)(d), labor relations or employee negotiations, including communications necessary for that purpose to receive information with respect to the report titled Bilingualism Policy Exemption for a Position in the City of Ottawa's Extended Senior Leadership Team.
Thank you, Councillor Curry. Is that carried? All right, we will begin the closed session as soon as possible. Thank you. All right, we'll start again. And for the benefit of the public joining us, Ottawa City Council just met in camera pursuant to Procedure Bylaw 2025-100 as follows: subsection 13(1)C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land for the purposes of the city, and subsection 13(1)J, a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality, including communications necessary for that purpose to receive information with respect to a potential property acquisition and associated negotiations. And subsections 13(1)B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, and 13(1)D, labor relations or employee negotiations, including communications necessary for that purpose to receive information with respect to the report titled Bilingualism Policy Exemption for a Position in the City of Ottawa's Extended Senior Leadership Team. During the closed session, no votes were taken other than procedural motions and/or directions to staff. I'll ask Councillor Leeper now to introduce the motion for the item 15.2, Bilingualism Policy Exemption for a Position in the City of Ottawa's Extended Leadership Team. Councillor Leeper.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Attendu que le paragraphe R6.3.1.1 de la politique de bilinguisme de la Ville d'Ottawa exige que les candidats considérés pour un poste de gestion de niveau...
Whereas the candidate does not currently meet the language requirements and has agreed to enroll in language training, therefore, it's resolved that Council approve an exception pursuant to Section R6.3.1 of the bilingualism policy for the candidate selected for the position on the understanding that they will enroll in French language training to progress in this area. And whereas the chosen person is not meeting currently the linguistic requirement and that she accepted to register to language training, be it resolved that Council approve an exception under paragraph R6.3.1 of the bilingualism policy so that person chosen may occupy the position on the condition that that person follows language training to improve their French knowledge and that the skills be assessed during the performance evaluation that are done regularly, and be it further resolved that City Council ask the municipal director to keep the council informed through a memo when the process of hiring is concluded.
Motion to adopt reports. Councillor Curry.
That the Ottawa Community Housing Corporation report entitled Approval of Ottawa Community Housing Corporation OCHC Bylaw 13/2025, Community Services Report 15, Emergency Preparedness and Protective Services Committee Report 17, Planning and Housing Committee Report 45, and the reports from the City Clerk entitled 2022-2026 Midterm Appointments to Various Committees and Boards, and Summary of Oral and Written Public Submissions for items subject to the Planning Act, Explanation Requirements at the City Council meeting of 16th of April 2025 be received and adopted as amended.
Is that carried? Motions of which notice has previously been given, thanking HMCS Ottawa for their service in the Indo-Pacific region. Councillor Desroches.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my honor and privilege to present this motion and thank the HMCS Ottawa crew and their families for their tremendous service and sacrifice to our country. Thank you, Mayor Sutcliffe, for your support and collaboration with this motion. Au cours de l'histoire du Canada, la Marine royale canadienne a joué un rôle important dans la promotion de la paix, de la stabilité et de la sécurité dans le monde entier. As a unique branch of the Canadian Armed Forces, the Royal Canadian Navy serves many different objectives, including protecting Canadian sovereignty through patrols and search and rescue operations in Canadian waters, engaging in overseas combat and peacekeeping missions, aider les autorités provinciales, territoriales et fédérales lors de la situation d'urgence, lutter contre les
including during emergency situation, preventing illegal activities from hostile organizations.
Called upon, even at a moment's notice, service members are ready to defend Canadian interests both at home and abroad. To every service member, past and present, thank you for your commitment to protecting Canadians and our shared values. I would also like to thank the families of HMCS Ottawa. Your support and sacrifice contribute to the strength of the Royal Canadian Navy. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Desroches. Is that carried? 17.2 is Vegans Who Snack Night Market. Councillor Leeper, did you want to speak to that?
I'll just say, I'll read the motion out. Whereas the City of Ottawa Special Events on City Streets bylaw prohibits road closures before 6 Monday to Friday, therefore be it resolved the council approve the road closure for Armstrong from Hamilton to Parkdale, Hamilton to Spencer, and Wellington from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday, May 30th, 2025 for the Beacons of Snack Night Market, providing it meets the requirements, conditions, and approval of the Special Events Advisory Team.
Thank you. Is that carried? Ottawa Chinatown Night Market. Councillor Troster.
Thank you. Whereas the City of Ottawa Special Events on City Streets bylaw prohibits road closures before 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, therefore it be resolved that council approve the road closure for Somerset Street from Bronson Avenue to Bell Street from 6 p.m. on Thursday, May 29, 2025 to 10 p.m. Friday, May 30th, although I will note the festival does continue throughout the weekend for the Ottawa Chinatown Market, providing it meets the requirements, conditions, and approval of Special Events Advisory Team. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that carried? National Youth Week, Councillor King.
Thank you so much, Your Worship. It's always a pleasure each year to introduce this motion around recognizing National Youth Week. I know that your office is intimately involved in the events that happen at City Hall, as well as Mayor for a Day. And my understanding as well is that this year, Stéphane Giguère from Ottawa Community Housing will also be participating in leadership experiences for youth. So therefore be it resolved that the City of Ottawa, in recognition of the vital role youth play in shaping our community and the importance of recreation in supporting youth development, hereby proclaims May 5th to May 12th, 2025 as National Youth Week.
Thank you very much, Councillor King. Is that carried? Item 17.5, Councillor Plante, I believe you have a deferral motion for this one.
Yes, thank you. And I just wanted to thank, I see him in the crowd, John Buck and his whole team who we're still working on this issue. Therefore, be it resolved that the motion which notice was previously given regarding the reinstatement of parking pads on Lompré, Shakespeare and Michel Circle be deferred to council meeting of May 14th, 2025. And that is because John and his team are working very hard on a solution and we have to do another door-to-door. So thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Merci, Councillor Plante. Is that carried? Item 17.6, waive the fees for a building permit. I believe there is a replacement motion. Do you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, I'll read the therefore be it resolved and answer any questions. Therefore be it resolved that the building permit fee of $9,812.40 in respect of the permit application at 267 Laurier Avenue hereby be covered at 100% under the reimbursement program for the development and related fees for charitable and nonprofit organizations once the program application form has been completed. And I do want to thank Councillor King who seconded this motion. We are transforming a parking lot into an amazing, amazing play space in Vanier, and a lot of people have come together to help this initiative. Carleton University, there's been spaghetti dinners, there's been people knitting toques to raise money for it. So I do appreciate that staff came forward with this compromise. So thank you so much to Derek and your team. I can't wait to show you the play space when it's done.
Okay, merci. Is that carried? Motions requiring suspension of the rules of procedure. There is a motion from Councillor Tierney on the appointment to FCM that is of a time-sensitive nature on suspension of the rules. Is that carried? Councillor Tierney?
Yeah, knowing this meeting has gone a little long today, Mr. Mayor, it's pretty belt and suspenders. I want to thank Lane for the great annual work. She did a little extra time on there for us. I appreciate that. Therefore, be resolved that Council appoints Councillor Dudas as the city's representative of the FCM Board of Directors for the remainder of the 2022-2026 term of council. Be it further resolved that the city continue to assume all costs associated with the council-appointed representatives attending the FCM Board of Directors meetings to be funded from the council administration budget. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Is that carried? Notice is a motion for consideration at a subsequent meeting. Councillor Hubley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This motion is to review the patio permit fees for Q4 of 2025. The city recognizes the value of that patios bring to our communities and the important role they play in supporting small businesses and activating our main streets. And whereas the right-of-way patio fees were waived in support of small businesses during the pandemic, and as of 2025, they've been reinstated to their full pre-pandemic level as part of a phased-in approach. And whereas the current patio fee regime was instituted in 2017 and has not been comprehensively reviewed since. And whereas the city has transferred the authority to administer the patio permits and establish a distinct fee structure to the Byward Market District Authority as well as the Spark Street Mall Authority, and whereas an updated analysis would be in order to ensure that the Ottawa right-of-way patio fees remain competitive in relation to other large municipalities throughout Ontario and Canada, included both application processing and occupancy fees. Therefore, be it resolved that staff in the right-of-way, heritage, and urban design services undertake a comprehensive review and comparative analysis relative to other large Canadian municipalities of the right-of-way patio fees to inform the right-of-way patio fees and the projected patio fee revenue presented as part of the 2026 City of Ottawa draft budget. And finally, be it therefore resolved that staff consult with the Byward Market District Authority and the Spark Street Mall Authority throughout the comprehensive review. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hubley. Motion to introduce bylaws. Councillor Curry.
That the bylaws listed on the agenda under motion to introduce bylaws, 3 readings, be read and passed.
Is that carried? Confirmation bylaw. Councillor Curry.
That the following bylaw be read and passed to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting of April the 30th, 2025.
Is that carried? Thank you. Inquiries. Councillor Brockington.
Thank you, Mayor. In recent years, the city's road painting program has fallen behind in refreshing both regular road painting lines and images, as well as road paint related to traffic calming measures. What can be done to expedite road painting on city roads? And secondly, the frequency of the need to paint the roads as well as the quality of road paint, which is difficult to see at night and or when wet, is also a safety issue. Is a better quality paint that lasts longer and is more visible at night and when wet available for the city to use? If not, what advocacy would be needed for this authority? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brockington. Councillor Tierney.
Great. Following the same vein, Mr. Mayor, and forgive me, it's not on the screen right yet. I'm just going to submit it. Whereas Good Roads, Councillor Devine and myself were also concerned about line painting and the dangers that it presents, especially within wet weather. And due to federal government regulations many years ago that changed the type of paint that has been used, requiring municipalities to paint more frequently, can Public Works report out what we're doing with the federal government? I personally have been working with 3M, myself, and Councillor Devine on trying to find some solutions from a municipal perspective in the future. What actions are being taken by municipalities across not only the province of Ontario through AMO, but across Canada in regards to this continual problem that we see about line painting in municipalities. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Are there any other inquiries? Motion to adjourn, Councillor Curry.
That the proceedings of the City Council meeting of 30th April 2025 be adjourned.
Is that carried? Thank you, everyone. Merci beaucoup.
Good afternoon, bonjour à tous. My name is Kendra Titley and I will be your moderator. Je m'appelle Kendra Titley et je serai l'animatrice de ce point de presse. I will now invite each agency in alphabetical order to ask their questions. You may ask one question with a follow-up. Par ordre alphabétique, j'invite maintenant chaque organisme à poser une question et une question de suivi. We'll start with Arthur White-Crummy at CBC Ottawa.
Hi there. This will be for the mayor. We've been hearing a lot from residents in Chinatown about a deteriorating security situation there. A lot of people have been witnessing a large upsurge in public drug use, drug dealing, drug diversion, and some are connecting it to the closure of the supervised injection site. And I'm wondering now, 2 months after that took effect, how you assess the impact of that provincial decision.
Is it 2 months or 1 month?
Well, it's 1 month since the deadline for closure, but I do understand from, I believe, Councillor Troster that they actually closed a month beforehand.
Yeah, I think it's still early to make an assessment. I'm certainly aware of the concerns of residents of Chinatown and business owners in the area. I've heard from them. I share those concerns, and they're, the rise in public drug use in Ottawa and in many other municipalities throughout North America is very, very troubling. And it's a widespread problem, and we're working very hard to tackle it. I have a lot of faith in the team at the Somerset Community Health Center. They've been doing amazing work. They're great partners. There's great leadership there, great people working every day to support the community. We're working with them on the transition to the Heart Hub. They've laid the groundwork there, and so we're doing what we can. We're going to continue to monitor the situation, provide as many resources as we can, listen to the community, and if we need to adapt and adjust in the future, we will. But I think we'll continue to we'll continue to evaluate it day by day, week by week. I don't think we're in a position at this point to evaluate it more broadly than that. We're trying to respond to the situation on the ground as it goes.
Okay, and this will be for, I believe, the city manager. I know you can't tell us a lot about what was discussed in camera, if anything, but I'm curious to know whether that related to the planning department vacancy and whether you can update us on just where we are in that hiring process.
So I can't speak to what was discussed in camera other than the public motion that came out. So just seeking an exception from the bilingualism policy with respect to an extended senior leadership team hiring. And council granted that. In terms of the overall process for the general manager of PDVS, we're kind of nearing the finish line with respect to it, and hoping to be making an announcement in the coming months.
Thank you. On va maintenant Fred Pepe, Radio-Canada.
Fred Pepe, Radio-Canada. Thank you so much. I know that you made some comment yesterday on the Liberal victory. I would like to know, do you already have a scheduled meeting with the Prime Minister Carney? Because yesterday you talked about your priority and your concern. Do you have a meeting with him? Answer? For now, we didn't participate in the breakfast after the election. Normally, we meet the party leaders. So we've sent a couple of text messages on the night of the election. We've been discussing a potential meeting. We'll try to do it as soon as possible. But for right now, we don't have a fixed date. I've also talked to 2 or 3 federal MPs from the National Capital Region. I've talked to them yesterday and today. They're ready to talk about our own priorities. I hope we will be able to schedule a meeting with the Liberal caucus very soon. And we hope that we'll be able to meet with the Prime Minister. Mark Carney told me sometimes that our priority was also his priorities. He's now a federal MP within the National Capital Region. He's the MP for Nepean. I think we will have a meeting pretty soon. Question? Let's go back to the bilingualism exception that was adopted. It's once more a position for which you're putting aside this policy. Are you sending a message? What do you have to say about that? Answer. Bilingualism is very important. It's important for me. I talk to the French-speaking communities. I participate in different events. I also discuss with the French-speaking leaders, community leaders. I know that every time we're asking for an exception, it's a worry. It's a concern for the members of the communities. But this is what I say when we have an exception. The other responsible within the city of Ottawa do have these skills. They speak French. It's much more than before. If you think about 10 years ago, it was what, 33% of the head office that were able to speak both languages. Now we're up to 65, even 70%. So much better than before. It's not the ideal situation. I understand that. And sometimes it's very difficult to find the right candidate that speaks French before starting working with the city of Ottawa. Sometimes when there's an opening, a vacant position, we're trying to find the best person possible within Canada. Sometimes we find the right person, but the person only speaks English. But they're ready and open to learn French when they will be here in Ottawa. Once more, this is not the ideal situation, but most of the personnel within the city of Ottawa are bilingual. Sometimes the candidate has very good skills, and the ideal candidate is unilingual, but the person is open to learn the other language. Thank you so much. Charles-Antoine Gagnon, Le Droit. Question? I will just piggyback on that. Sometimes you will find a very skilled employee and they don't want to move to Ottawa. Let's say someone that lives in Montreal. Does it happen? Do you have very good candidates, but they don't want to move? Answer? It's always a very personal decision, you know, when you want to move to another city. But what we found is the following. Since I'm working for the city of Ottawa, many are interested in working for our municipality. And they're also interested in moving to Ottawa. So many candidates. But when we're looking at what's going on within Canada, if we're looking, let's say, someone for a high position, 80 to 90% of the candidates do not speak French. They're from Alberta, British Columbia, maybe Toronto. So it's always very difficult to find a bilingual candidate for a municipality, for our municipality. You know, at the federal government level, they have a bilingualism program. So it's easier for them to find a bilingual candidate. But for municipalities, I will say the majority of the cities do not have bilingualism policies. So I would say most of the candidates don't speak French. We're always looking for bilingual candidate, but it's not always possible to find one. Follow-up question? It's completely different, if you don't mind. You were talking about the paint today, the paint on the roads. What's the issue? The federal government changed the rules and now the paint doesn't stay as long? Is it an environmental issue? Answer? I don't really know. I don't have a lot of details. I heard a discussion amongst Councillor Turney and Councillor Brunkington during the meeting today. It's the first time I hear about that, the issue about the paint. So I'm ready to, I will be looking for more information, but I don't know exactly what's the issue.
Merci.
Thank you so
This
much.
concludes today's media availability. Ceci conclut le point de presse d'aujourd'hui. Thank you.
Merci.